Good afternoon, traders. How are you? Trader Tom here. Welcome back to Simply Forex. Guys, in today's live stream, we have got so much stuff to do because we have got important news coming out at 1:30. So must be aware of that. We'll take a look at that in a second. I have gone absolutely mental today and I am in 3 trades. This is very unlike me. So I'm currently in 3 trades, guys, and we will take a look at each one of those so we understand why and how I entered, right? So we'll look at those 3 as well. 3 trades. I'm going to get a nosebleed if I enter another one. What else are we going to do? Yeah, we're also going to take all of your questions, guys, right? So don't be shy. Please ask as many questions as you like about trading, right? And it can be anything. So don't be shy. Ask questions. Come say hello. I don't bite. Only at weekends I buy it, and it's not the weekend. So yeah, that is what we're going to do, guys. Let me just start by showing you the news coming out so that one of you can please remind me that there's news coming out, right? Because I'm terrible with this. I'm not in any US dollar pairs, which is why I'm less bothered by the news. However, you know, it can affect all currency pairs, guys. All right. So yeah, somebody please remind me at 1:30 that we have all of this news coming out. Right. And this is big news, guys. Right. We've got employment news, but more importantly, we've got GDP. Okay. And GDP, you know, super important when it comes to the strength of the US dollar, and a really good indicator, you know, which way is the economy heading. Is it more towards recession or is it more towards growth, right? It's basically what GDP tells you. So yeah, we've got that at 1:30. And then also, guys, like I say, I'm in 3 trades. So let's take these one by one and we will look at them. Let me just say hello to a couple of people. Afternoon, Brett, how are you? Aussie Trev, how are you, mate? And yeah, please subscribe, like, and share. So let's understand each trade individually. So let's start with pound Aussie dollar. Now, this is more of a case of, right? Basically, we've got to, let's go to the weekly chart, right? Because right here, we have basically got a last, weekly, daily high here, right? We can see there's resistance there. Last time it hit that level, look at the sellers that we got. So we are at a resistance level, okay? That's all the weekly is really telling me, that it's an important level because, you know, the weekly is in an uptrend, right? But we're at an important level. And if we go to the day chart, guys, right, you can see that on the day chart, we have stopped making higher highs, right, at that level. Yeah, because that last high has not been broken, right? We've got this candle that closed back in and this candle that closed back in, right? So that is a very good indication that trend is slowing down, if not potentially reversing, right? Especially because we're at such a key resistance level, okay? So, you know, a reasonably bearish reaction. But really, what was the real... So all of those are confluence, right? They're reasons to take this trade. But if we drop down to the H4 now, there was also a key H4 break of a level, right? And as you can see, guys, if we just follow structure, this is where we were at, right? We was clearly in an uptrend, right? Higher lows, higher highs, clearly in an uptrend, right? But as soon as this low here is broken and price goes below the moving average 20, my little ears prick up and I spring into action like Jackie Chan, right? And Jean-Claude Van Damme. People tell me I look like Jean-Claude Van Damme, which is maybe a compliment back in the day, but I think he's about 70 years old now. Anyway, right, we have had a structure break. And then all that happened, guys, is price retraced it into what was once resistance, became support, becomes resistance again. Okay, and I basically entered here. If we go down to the, well, we don't need to go down to the H1, right? It was bearish H4 candles, breaking structure. We got a slight retrace. I started selling in here, right? Stops above here, and I'm looking to take price back down to here, where I get my 1:1 at this alarm. Yeah, and if not, I'll leave some profit to run back down to these lows and this 2.800 level. Right, so again, price action, logical, sensible, some say sensible, but logical, common sense stuff, just reading price action. I'm also in Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar sells, right? Okay, again, let me go through this one a little bit quicker, right? So we were in an uptrend, right? Bang, we're in a downtrend. We had a very bearish candle form yesterday. Excuse me, guys. I had a bounty before I come on to the live stream. Who remembers bounty? Who remembers these bad boys? I haven't had a bounty in years, so I thought, what the hell? I threw caution to the wind and I went for it and bought myself a bounty. Anyway, not interested in that, I'm sure. But honestly, guys, there's a serious question. When's the last time you had a bounty? Anyway, right, big bearish candle in a downtrend. We've still got room to move into before we hit support. Right, again, logical, sensible price action. Here's that level. You can see price has reacted here, right? If we drop down to the H4, this was very much a H4 entry, right? We're in a downtrend. Price retraced. We got a nice big bearish candle. I started selling there, stops above here, and I'm looking to take price back down to here. I will take some profit at this level and let some profit run. Right? Again, common sense. Right? I'm not being flippant, right? When I say, oh, common sense, trading's, but trading's not easy. Trading's not easy because you can have as much confluence and all the reasons to take a trade, right? And I start selling here, stop losses here, everything's telling me to sell this pair, right? And then price does that, right? There's no guarantees, right? And that's what makes trading difficult to handle emotionally, right? But what I show you is straightforward price action, right? Now, it's not just about price action. It's once you're in a trade and how you manage a trade. I would say that's where the real skill in trading comes. But entries that I'm showing you are very, sort of self-explanatory, really. And then the last one, guys, that I'm in is Swiss franc yen. Again, if we start with the day chart, we wasn't too sure what this little bad boy was doing, right? Price was a little bit hickledy-pickledy. But as soon as we broke this high here with this candle here, there's no ambiguity, right? It's clear. It's in an uptrend. We're getting higher highs, right? And we've got a nice big bullish candle, right? So I want to buy it potentially back up to these highs, right? But I only use the daily for direction, guys. I don't enter on the daily. And then I use the H4 for entry, right? And I basically entered in here, right? I saw this big bullish candle in a H4 uptrend, right? This candle that I'm talking about had a nice retrace back to that high. And then we saw a nice push off that level. Right, I managed to get a little bit of a retrace into here. I've put my stop below the moving average 20, right, for protection, and I'm still in this trade, right? And like I say, guys, if I zoom out, where that alarm is basically where my target is, right? So entered here, stop below here, 1:1, right? Now, there's been a lot of nothing, really. Yeah, you know, this is a lot of nothing, right? It's not telling me anything. So, yeah, you know, I'm just going to stay in this trade and see how it plays out. If it starts breaking this level, I'm concerned, right? It was resistance becomes support, right? If it breaks that level, I might get out of the trade earlier. But, you know, right now, this is just telling me to stay in the trade, see it out, right? And there you go, guys. Those are my 3 trades that I am in. Because I'm in 3 trades, I need a little lay down and a sip of coffee. All right. And as always, guys, right, let me just show you this. As always, guys, I put all of my trades, yeah, Swiss franc yen buy, pound Aussie dollar sell, and Aussie dollar New Zealand dollar sell, right? All of these trades are in our Discord channel, and these specifically are in the VIP Discord, right? So don't forget to join the free Discord, guys. It is totally free to join. And right now, as you can see above my head, if you join our free Discord, our trading community, we will give you 50% off the Simply Forex complete trading course, right? And all you've got to do is see that QR code, is just scan it with your phone. The wonders of modern technology. So yeah, come join our free Discord, guys. Also, if you want access to all of our premium trading education, then please check out the website, www.simply-forex.com. All right. So yeah, check it all out, guys. There's loads of cool stuff on there, loads of value for traders. So get involved. Don't be shy. Right, that's enough about me. Let's have a look, see who is in the house. Scott, hello. Pooh Poppy, hello. Philip, Phil, how are you? Tane, how are you? Euro, Aussie dollar. Okay, we can take a look at that. I'm in pound Aussie dollar sales. Brett, Tom, as a general rule. Okay, let's take our first question then, right? And then we'll look at a few pairs. So Brett's got a question. Tom, as a general rule, will you take a buy if you are below the 20 simple moving average? And will you take a sell if you're above it? If price action is with you, of course. I will, right? You know, so Brett's question is this, like, if we look at the moving average 20, generally speaking, if I'm above the moving average 20, I'm looking for buys. If I'm below the moving average, or not me, I'm not below it, but if price is below it, I'm looking for sells. Now that is a general rule of mine, right? It is, and it's a good rule because look at this chart, right? You know, this is just a chart I'm on. I haven't cherry picked it, right? Look at when the H4 trend starts. Bang, H4 trend, retrace the moving average 20. Bang, right? Retrace the moving average 20. Bang. It just acts as a very good piece of dynamic support in this case, or resistance, right? Then we break below it, right? Right. Near the moving average 20, at the moving average 20, right? Good trades. We break trend. Then price gets a little bit scruffy, right? But look when it breaks. When it's trending, it's a really good area to trade for. Okay, so look, there we go, bang, retraces towards the moving average 20, and obviously previous support here as well. But when you get that combination, it's a really nice entry. So generally, I will buy above the 28 SMA and sell below it, but it's not always a deal breaker. Right, sometimes I will buy below the 20 SMA if price action says it's a nice setup, but it rarely happens, to be honest. So yeah, there's a question there. Mark Wahlberg, how are you? Tony Gold, how are you? Colin, how are we? How's Bali? Luigi, I am coming to your motherland. Yeah, so guys, on Friday night, Saturday morning, I am going to Italy for 10 days on holiday. I cannot bloody wait. We're going to Tuscany and we're going to do a little road trip. So any Italians watching, get off the road because I will be out there driving on the wrong side of the road. Sayed, how are you? Daniel, Follow Run Show. Okay, we like your name. Hello, Daniel. Carlos, hello, 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 hello. Hello, everyone. Right, let's go back to the questions. So there was a question here. So today was looking at Euro Aussie dollar. So I'm selling pound Aussie dollar. So obviously I'm going to like Euro Aussie dollar sells, but must put this level in. Right. I like it. Yeah, that's it. I like sells. Again, right, let's start with the day chart. Now, this is still in a downtrend, really, right? Because this is the last significant high, and we haven't broken that high, right? You know, are we going to start to find ourselves in a bit of a range? I don't know, but we are in a downtrend nonetheless, right? But you can see there's support there, right? Now, earlier on today, or even, yeah, or even now, guys, this is the problem, right? Now, normally, if I see a H4 structure break like that and a retest, I want to sell the living daylights out of it, right? And, you know, potentially take it further. But the only thing putting me off is that there is a level here, right? And understandably, that's putting me off. That is a support level. Now, having said that, there's still room from here down to here, right? So, yes, I would consider selling it, but let me show you some different, let me show you Euro New Zealand dollar, right? There's the last low, which it hasn't hit yet. We're in this downtrend, right? And there's more room to move into. So I prefer Euro New Zealand dollar sells, right? And also I'm selling Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar, right? So I like New Zealand strength, right? And also Euro CAD. Again, this would be a better trade, right? There's nothing. The next point to stop it is this, right? It's broken all of these areas, right? And you can see it's broken H4, right? We're in a downtrend. You know, this is a more attractive trade, right? So when you say Euro Aussie dollar, I'm not saying no, right? It makes sense, but there's more attractive pairs to look at. The others are like Gal Gadot, right? And Euro Aussie dollar is more like, I've got to be careful how mean I am. It's more like Joe Brand, right? Which is like an English comedian. Sorry, Joe, you're not watching, but anyway. Right, what else are we looking at? So, Marky Mark, hey Tom, looking at news. Right, okay, so we've got lots of stuff here. Also, do you consider the Euro as safety currencies or otherwise? Right, so New Zealand Swiss franc we'll have a look at, right? So, hi Tom, a look at New Zealand Swiss franc. Also, do you consider pound, I assume that is, GBP, euro and CAD as safety currencies or otherwise? No. Yeah, if I think of flight to safety currencies and commodities, I think of yen, I think of Swiss franc, and I think of gold, right? I used to put US dollar in that bracket. Okay, so yeah, that's what I consider. But let's have a look at New Zealand Swiss franc. Let's start with the daily chart. Let's start with the weekly. Now, this is crap. Because, right, I mean, just looking at structure, right, we want to sell. Okay, we're at what was once support becomes resistance, right? and we've got, you know, a reasonably bearish reaction. So generally speaking, that's leading me to sell. But look at that. That is pretty much 3 weeks, really, of dojis. Doji, doji, doji. So again, guys, you've got all these currency pairs to pick. Don't pick doji central, right? Scruffy. Now, if you look at the day chart, scruffy. Yeah, all of that in there is scruffy, right? I mean, really, what you want is either a breakout of here, like you get a bearish candle, breaking all of this crap, right? We'd sell it. Or you get a bullish candle, break through this high, and we buy it, right? Simple as that. But as for, you know, as for trading all of this crap, no, right? Now, if you said, Tom, you have to trade this, otherwise I will drive over you with a car, then I would probably sell, right? Because we have that weekly chart, and this is a weekly resistance level. We've also got, if we do follow structure, we're kind of there, right? Are we starting to see lower highs? And therefore, it'll be interesting to see what this candle does. If this candle today finished like that, I would be interested in selling, right? Because we're at this level, but just selling it down to here. Right, let's drag this across. Right, but let's have a look at the H4. Yeah, but I would need a H4 structure break. So, you know, we've had this H4 uptrend. I would need to see something like this, and then I would start selling. All right, but yeah, stay away from choppy price action. It will help you guys. Right, what else are we looking at? Guys, if you haven't already, please could I ask everyone to subscribe to the channel, smash the notification button, and please smash the like button. While you do that, I am going to have a drink of neat gin. Right, what else we're looking at? Okay, so Tony's saying I'm seeing US dollar weakness and gold strength. Okay, let's have a look at US dollar. Okay, right now I would agree with you. Yeah, because we're bouncing off a nice level here for pound US dollar, right? Euro US dollar. Let's have a quick look. Yeah, so right now we're seeing US dollar weakness. Yeah, totally agree with you. But remember, guys, in 6 minutes, we do have this news, right? So this could turn this US dollar weakness into strength like that, right? Right, what else have we got? Bounty dark is better. I've never had a dark bounty. Aussie Trev, the last time he had a bounty was 10 years. There you go. I think mine was the same. Mine was probably about 10 years to go. Follow Run Show, Emmanuel. Thank you very much. Thumbs up, mentor, for all you do. You are very welcome. Thank you for the kind words. I'm glad you appreciate it. What else are we looking at, guys? Offman, hello. Okay, and we've got a question here from Parandeep. Hey, I'm in pound New Zealand dollar longs. What do you think about it? Well, I am in pound Aussie dollar sells. So a little bit of conflict there, right? Now, I've explained my pound Aussie dollar trade, right? But look, if you look at the H4, this is breaking down, right? Now, let's have a look for the pound New Zealand dollar. Look, obviously, there is a level through here, right? And even if I drag that left, look, I mean, that is a very nice level. Now, I understand, just looking at the H4, the potential buys of this level. I do get that, right? Because if you look at H4, generally, guys, we're in a range, right? And we're at a support level, let's buy the bottom of the range up to the top of the range. Now, looking at the H4, I cannot disagree with you. Totally, right? Makes perfect sense. But the problem is, right, we have other time frames. That's not the problem. That's the beauty of trading, right? We've got many time frames that we can look at in order to make good decisions. So H4, I understand a buy trade here, okay? But let's now do a top-down approach. Let's start with the weekly. Now, on the weekly, right, let's drag this across a little bit. On the weekly, do you want to buy into that candle? Not this week's candle, that hasn't finished forming. Ignore that. But do you want to buy into that candle? No, right? I'm not saying price could do that. Price can do whatever it wants, right? But looking at this from a technical standpoint and a price action standpoint, do you want to buy into that candle? No, right? Do I want to sell that? No, right? It's a really, look, we've got bullish candles. It's come to a bit of a stop. There is this last high here as well. I don't like it for buys or sells, right? But let's get more information. This is your job, guys, right? Just get more information, make informed decisions, right? So, this is a good way. I've mentioned it before, but this is a good way of looking at it, right? Because trading is my business, okay? And every trade that I take is a business decision, right? And if you make a business decision in any business, whether it's trading, whether it's you make Liverpool FC mugs, yeah, or you sell laptops, it's just things I'm looking at. It doesn't matter. Every business decision you make, you're going to get data to make the best decision, right? So it amazes me when somebody's like, Tom, I just trade the H1, right? And it's in an uptrend, I'm buying it. Now, okay, right? I'm not dead against it, but if you're buying the H1, but I know there's a massive daily support resistance level here, right? Don't keep buying it. Whereas the H1 traders like, yeah, just keep buying it, buying, and then day traders come in and price does that, right? So this is what this example is going to show us, right? H4 looked really good in terms of buying the bottom of the range back to the top, right? But weekly does not support that idea at all, right? Now let's look at the daily. That is the most bearish candle I've ever seen. I would not be buying into that, even if it does come to the top of the range, right? I am not interested in buying into that candle at all, right? A few other things to consider, right? We're in an uptrend and price has stopped making higher highs. And at this last high, we got the most bearish bad boy candle you've ever seen. That is more bearish than Winnie the Pooh. Right? So me making this business decision would be, if you said to me, Parandeep, do you want to invest in this business idea, this trade idea? I would be, no, I don't. Right? Now, looking at the H4, right, this may well bounce off this level and go back up to here. But I would be more interested if tomorrow, right, let's say tomorrow, this candle that's forming now ends up something like this. We get a nice big bullish wick rejection. We end up with a candle that looks something like this, right? And Christ, if your candle looks something like that, report it to your broker. Right, let's say you end up, I don't think this is even possible where price started, but you get the idea, right? If I end up with a nice bullish candle like that, then I would be like, yep, I'm invested in your decision. Let's take it back up to here. But even then, I'm thinking about the weekly candle that I don't want to buy into, right? So I wouldn't be interested in pound New Zealand buys today, but let's see how it plays out, right? You know, I'm just sharing with you how I read a chart, right? And it's, you know, a lot of what I say is common sense, right? You know, you wouldn't buy into that candle. You wouldn't sell into that support. That's in an uptrend, so buy it. That's a strong candle, buy it, right? It's just, yeah. So guys, if you're interested in learning how to read a chart, then please take advantage of some of our premium education, right? We've got the course, which is 50% off right now if you join our free Discord. And we've got the VIP Trading Academy within the Discord, and we've got the mentorship program where I coach you one-on-one. All right, check them out. Okay, so Mark, hi, how are you, Mark? Luigi, enjoy, Tom. I will enjoy. I cannot bloody wait to go to Tuscany and drive around and drink red wine. Not together. I will park the car and then drink red wine like there's no tomorrow, and have bright red teeth, red tongue, and slightly wonky eyes. That's the plan. Okay, so we've got a comment here from Daniel. Why do you want to trade a currency pair with no volume as a retail trader if you do not have to? So there's lots of volume, like you need volume in the market, right? So that's why most people, you know, are interested in the London Open or the New York Open. And that's when the majority of people trade, right? So yes, people want volume, right? Of course you do. If you want price to move, you need volume and you need enough people to move it, right? So yes, you want volume in the market, but I wouldn't put too much significance on it, right? If just wait for your setup, even if it's in the middle of the Asian Open and it's really slow and nothing's happening. If you get a setup, take it. If you get a setup during the London Open, take it. If you get a setup at the end of the New York session and the volume's dying down, doesn't matter. Take the trade. You can't, you can't. You'll go around in circles if you look at, if you start applying more indicators. Like if you have a volume indicator on your chart, then before you know it, you'll have a RSI indicator, you'll have a MACD, you'll have this, that. Just trade raw price action. Now, having said that, volume is one of the indicators that I would place some value on, right? You want to know when the volume is in the market and hitting the market, right? It's good information to know, but I don't need to know it. I just trade my setup when I see it, volume or not, right? Yeah, and guys, if you want to join the free Discord, don't forget to use the QR code that you see on the screen with the little Discord image in the middle. Nix, you'll never walk alone. Yes, Liverpool FC are champions of the Premier League. I have to mention that every day for the next year. And if we become champions again, I will mention it for 2 years. Okay, what else are we looking at here? Right, so we've got more news. Right, Christ. I've got loads of people reminding me of news, and I am not looking at it at all. Right. Let's have a look at H1. Okay. Right. So US dollar weakness. I'm not in a US dollar trade, guys, but let me have a look at my trades. Okay, this is good, right? New Zealand, Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar. Let's have a look at Swiss franc yen. I'm just selfishly looking at my trades. Okay, good. That's what we want to see. Pound Aussie dollar. Okay, good. But as for US dollar, clearly it's US dollar weakness, right? So let me look into the future and use my crystal ball. I am going to predict that the US dollar news was worse than expected. If I get this right, guys, I expect a round of applause, okay? Yeah, on the whole. Worse than expected, worse than expected, a little bit better than expected, but still negative, right? That's not a good sign for a recession. Still negative. As expected, worse than expected. So the majority of news was worse than expected, right? Hence, we are seeing US dollar weakness. Okay. Yeah, so there you go, guys. Let's have a look at US dollar CAD. Okay. I almost sold this earlier, US dollar CAD. Just didn't quite come up to here. Okay. Thank you for people who reminded me about the news. Thank you. But once I get chatting, I am like I'm like my nan. Right, what else are we looking at? Okay, so Euro US dollar for follow rush run show. My pronunciation is exquisite. I think you'll agree. Euro US dollar. Now, I liked this as a sell trade before the news came out and before it hit this support level, right? At the start of the day, we had this nice bearish candle, and there was still a little bit more room to come down to, back down to this level in here, right? There was a little bit more room. If we drop down to the H4, yeah, and and H4 was coming down. Okay, a little bit of tricky price action. Yeah, but it never gave us a chance, right? It was already down here. Okay, and then basically, guys, once it broke this level, I was interested to see what it will do in here, right? And this is another good reason why you should wait for confirmation. And my confirmation would be a bearish candle in here somewhere, or even here. If I saw a candle like this, somewhere in here, like that, I would have looked to sell Euro US dollar, right? I would have done. But that is not telling me to sell. That, my God, I've been drinking. That is not telling me to sell. Stay out, right? There's no setup. But at the start of the day, I wanted to sell it. And to prove that to you guys, I will show you. Yeah, so again, guys, if we go to the free Discord, every day I put in the trades that I am looking at. So Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar sell, I am in. Swiss franc yen, I am in. And these were the other trades that I liked as well. Okay. So there you go, guys. Right, what else we're looking at? Okay, Raphael Wilson wants to look at US oil. Okay, let's have a look at West Texan Intermediate. It doesn't, oh, okay, something's happening there. Doesn't matter if you look at Brent or West Texan, right? Now, oil, again, you know, like I said with New Zealand Swiss franc, this price action is scruffy shit, right? Don't trade it. Scruffy crap. I don't want to trade it. Next question. No, but you know what I mean, guys, right? It's just, you know, is that an uptrend? Is it a downtrend? Is it, you know, it's just scruffy, horrible price action. And this is the day chart. Let's go to the weekly chart to try and make sense of it. And really, you've got this. In fact, I'm going to put in a support level there. Right, you've got a support level there, and you've pretty much got a resistance level forming here before that next resistance level. Right, the resistance, let's get rid of this. Right, so you're kind of here, right? You've got this resistance here, and you've got this support here. Right, so that would suggest we sell oil back down to these lows. Right. But again, right, we've got a doji, if not slightly bearish, and a doji, really, if not slightly bearish. Right, so in here, we know it's going to be tricky. Yeah, if we go to the day chart, you know, that's what it is, right? So what would I be looking for? You know, again, between here and here, there's not much going on. But again, if I get a big bearish candle that breaks out of these lows, that is a beautiful setup. I love it when you get consolidation, right? Buyers and sellers, that's what this is, are just fighting. No one's winning, right? And then if you get a big, right, they're just fighting. And then if you get a big bearish candle like that, sellers have won. Sell it, right? And you know, the opposite is true. If you get a big bullish candle breaking these highs, I would say buy it if we wasn't at immediate resistance, right? So don't buy it. But if this breaks that low, I'm definitely interested in selling it because you've got room. Whereas with the buys, you have no room. All right. All right, guys, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, smash the notification button, and please smash the like button. Right, we've got one last question here. Let's do this lightning quick. I don't know why we have to do it so quick. We don't. Right. Weekly chart. Broken this key level in an uptrend, right? I would buy pound US dollar. However, very overextended. This would be a concern, right? Go to the day chart. It's not overextended, right? Look at the moving average 20, right? And instead, what we're getting is pound US dollar, right? Thought it was breaking down. It's not, right? In an uptrend. And it's in an uptrend that has retraced to a really nice area of what was once resistance becomes support, right? Again, not rocket science. And if we get a nice big bullish candle bounce off this level, if this day candle finishes like this, then I will be very much interested in buying it potentially back up to here tomorrow. But what I would need to see is some H4 structure break, really, right? We're in this, yeah, I need to see something like this. Maybe we get a break, right? Then I'm interested. All right, guys. So yeah, there is pound US dollar crispy king. Guys, yeah, run out of time. Thank you very much for joining us, guys. Please don't forget to join our trading community. Use the QR code. Also, check out all of our premium trading education on the website. All the details are below. And also, guys, I am on holiday next week. I am going to Italy to drink red wine. So next week there won't be any live streams, but I believe the editor has got some tutorials and some strategy vids for you. So make sure you have on your notification button for them next week, guys. All right. See you soon. Have a great trading day. See you later, guys.